Hey everybody, welcome to Gootz's Wrestling Pod. I'm your host, Ray Gootz, and as always, this is some of our biggest episodes. It's Wrestlemania week here on the
Oh,
podcast. It's our 13th Wrestlemania. Happy Wrestlemania, brother.
yo, happy WrestleMania. I can't believe before this podcast, I didn't watch the first 13 WrestleManias in full, but now I can say that I did, you know? How about
Wow.
you? Can you say the same thing or did you already watch
I
all of them?
watched, I watched them in full like when I got back into
Oh,
everything.
okay. I had not before this, but now I can say I actually have watched
The
all
first
13
seven I
WrestleManias.
used to, well, the first six I used to rent a lot, and I would just watch over and over again. By the time eight, I watched a few times, then I fell out of love with it. And then, 10, 11, 12, I didn't watch until I got back in 1998. 10, 11, 12, 13. So yeah, let's talk. Big weekend ahead. We're dropping this on Friday, but this weekend is a. So if we continue to do this podcast, Andrew, this weekend will take us 3 weeks to do because there's three pay-per-views this weekend. There's NXT Great American Bash, there's AEW All In, and then there's WWE Evolution. But there's also a TV special, Saturday night's main event. What are you excited about this weekend?
Wait a minute. This is all taking place on Saturday and Sunday, right?
Yes, Saturday morning for me, afternoon for you will be NXT Great American Bash. Saturday, like early evening for me will be Saturday night's main event, and then because these pay-per-views are so long, Saturday day, evening, night, late night will be fucking AEW All In because it'll probably be 9 hours long, and then on Sunday night, 8 o'clock, 5 o'clock here will be WWE Evolution.
So are they doing Great American Bash it's in the afternoon. Great American Bash
Yeah.
NXT is in the afternoon. And then AEW All In goes head to head with Saturday night's main event.
Yes.
Okay, let me see what the Saturday night's main event actual card is, because I don't actually know what the
Well, the big moment is the big one is Goldberg's retirement match, which I thought to myself, what am I most excited about this weekend? And you can call me a boomer. That's really the one thing I'm most excited about on all these shows. Probably gonna watch them because, but I'm not gonna watch AEW. But I am excited for the Goldberg match. I have a morbid curiosity for that at this
All
point.
right. So just let me go over the matches real quick. So far for Saturday night's main event, there's only three matches announced. Gunther versus Goldberg, as you mentioned, this is Goldberg's retirement match for the World Heavyweight Championship. LA Knight versus Seth Rollins. Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre. Both those are singles matches with nothing on the line. We going over to NXT Great American Bash. There's only 5 matches on the card. Oba Femi versus Inamura from Pro Wrestling Noah. Ethan Page versus Ricky Starks, Falls Count Anywhere. The rest of these matches I can't really give two shits about. Let's go over to All In, also on Saturday night. There's 3 fucking events on Saturday. This is ridiculous. Tony Storm versus Mercedes Moné for the world's AEW Women's World Championship. That one I'm interested in. I won't lie to you. You know why? Because we talked about this last week. They should just give her all the belts. Sasha Banks should get all the belts. What
All
do
the
you,
belts.
I
Yes,
I'm interested in that one. That one sounds good. I won't lie to you. That one sounds good.
the belt they can find her. They should give her. I
Okada versus Omega. That one looks good too. That's a unification of all the stupid intercontinental, continental, all those stupid titles, all unifying in one match. Okada versus Omega. I am interested in that one as well. I can't say I'm not. That one sounds good.
I'm interested in that.
Three-way tag sounds pretty good too. The Hurt Syndicate versus Jet Speed, which is Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey versus Christian Cage and Nick Wayne. I'm not excited for it, but I could tell that's gonna be a good match. And there is 2 casino gauntlet matches, battle royals, which I am interested in because I feel like we're gonna get at least one surprise entrance in one of them, at least, right?
The Forbidden Door is going to open, and Alex Hammerstone is going to challenge uh, Swerve Scott for the belt at
For the MLW title. No, but for real, right? There's 2 battle royals, one for one's for the women. you know there's gonna be a surprise entrance, either two or one in either of them, right? So I'll be honest with you, for Saturday, I know you don't enjoy AEW, but I am
Wait,
actually
don't put words in my mouth. We've had a busy week, Moose. Don't put words in my mouth.
okay, that's true. I will say this. I am out of all the three events on Saturday, I am the most interested in AEW All In. And where does this place taking place? Texas and Texas. What
Yeah,
about
and they
you?
sold a ton of tickets. It's one of the biggest shows in American soil by a company not run by Vince McMahon and Triple Hitler. So, that's good.
So for Saturday, which one are you most interested in of those three shows?
I mean, if AEW All In was free on HBO Max, that show, yes, I'd be mostly over that show. It's not. I'm gonna watch Goldberg. There's nothing they can do to get me to give them $50. I had a great. So I'll say this: last week's Dynamite was great, and Collision was great. Everyone is talking about Outrunners versus FTR, and rightfully so. That match that match had the live crowd on fire. And I said, people are going to say this is something special. And sure enough, all the AEW losers are saying that it's something special. So that was a great show, great time.
Hey,
Um,
that's a very non-biased take. Good job, Ray Gootz.
well,
I'm
I'm,
proud of
I'm going
you.
to say something about that in a second because I don't. I'm going
But
to talk about fandom in a minute.
okay,
But I really do want to see Goldberg's final match. I think
Bill
there's going to
Goldberg.
be, yeah, something funny is going to happen. If I get that for free, because remember, if you have a, forget about Peacock. If you have an antenna, you'll get that match. I'm gonna watch
Yeah,
that match for free. There's nothing you could put on the AW card that's gonna get me to give you $1 when I can see Goldberg's retirement match for free. That's just the way it is. You lose.
Bill Goldberg. Bill
Yeah,
Goldberg's retirement match. You think Bill Goldberg is going to botch?
yeah, but I want him to win the belt. I want him to retire as a champion. I want him to beat Wolf. If you're gonna do this, the only way I would have him lose, Bret Hart costs him the match.
Bret Hart
They should
causes
do it exactly
Bill
how they did
Goldberg
it.
the match.
What?
Bret Hart causes Bill Goldberg the match.
Yes. And then Bret Hart goes, "That's for ruining my life." He cuts a
That
promo
would
just like
be really funny. That would actually be very funny.
that would be and then he tells Gunther that Gunther's like the new best there is, best there was, best ever will be. Like he raises Gunther's hand. Yes, if Bret Hart cost Goldberg the match, that's the finish. That's like, dude, that's like 20 years in the making.
Yeah. And we should talk about this. As Ray did mention, the next night on Sunday there is the WWE Evolution, which is the all women's pay-per-view. And I'm looking at the card right now. None of the matches interest me
Oh,
at all, except for the Battle Royale.
so
Because
I paid cash money. I went to the first Evolution, and it was a great show. And I will say, for 2018, my match of the year in 2018 was Becky Lynch versus Charlotte at the first Evolution. And you got to give Junior this. Junior knew in August he's doing Evolution. So when he turned Becky Lynch heel at SummerSlam, that was to build up Evolution. That was to build up that show to give people a storyline that they would be invested. Same thing when he gave Ronda the belt and had the Bellas getting them. He knew, I have to build up these two matches because I've never done an all-women's pay-per-view before. This show just feels very thrown out there. It feels very spiteful against AEW. You knew you were doing this. I think they thought they were going to do Nikki Bella versus Liv Morgan, and this is my problem with both Triple H and Tony Khan. Liv Morgan got injured, and he fucking just didn't know what to do with the build-up. Now, like, why couldn't you pivot to Nikki Bella versus Rhea Ripley or Nikki Bella versus Io Scott? Like, you had Nikki Bella, you brought her in specifically to main event this show. Liv Morgan gets injured, and you just give up on the show. You just don't know. Dude, like, they have done a horrible, horrible job of building up this show. I'm still gonna watch it though.
okay, I'm not gonna watch it. You're right. They did a horrible job building up. Dude, I didn't know this pay-per-view was happening. I did not know that. Or PLE was happening.
Dude, so like, here's the other thing. You're gonna sign Maria May. why not fucking, all right, let's have her debut in a big match at Evolution. There's all these things they could have done and they don't do, and it's a disappointment to say the least. It just feels like they're trying to prove a point. And I don't know what the point is.
Because Hunter is not much of a booker. He needs to get fired. He needs to be gone.
Bro, he should have been fired. I mean, I'm not trying to jump ahead, but he should have been fired the moment he cut that promo at WrestleMania 13. Whatchamacallit? So here's my thing. So I went to AEW last week. You know, I do not enjoy the AEW show this year. I think this has been not a good year for AEW. I think the ever since CM Punk left hasn't been a good time for AEW, right? And Tony Khan needs to improve on a lot of things. But I did go to the show on Wednesday. There was a double taping, Dynamite and Collision. And I will say that last week's Dynamite was very, very good. And the Collision I saw, not a lot happened newsworthy, but if you just like wrestling, it was a really fun show. Everyone had a great time. The building seemed pretty full. The crowd was into the show. They seemed to be having a lot of momentum going into All In. Now, they could still ruin a lot of things because Tony Khan is Tony Khan. All In could stink, or fucking the follow-up could be garbage. But we're not there. He sold a lot of tickets. This is a good week for him. Now, there's accounts out there on Twitter. They make their money just being negative. I know I make a lot of negative jokes about AEW. I don't want AEW to be bad. I want it to be good. Because if AEW is good and WWE has to step up, we're back in 97, 98, where things were exciting. Okay?
Yeah.
So I want AEW to be good. So this account called The Death of AEW, it is trying to find ways to shit on AEW this week, and he's doing a really bad job. And I commented, I said, bro, it must be really exhausting running an account like this because you have to be constantly negative. Like, dude, just take the week off. Let this company enjoy the week. And he wrote to me, stay in your lane and focus on your own podcast. All right, here's my lane, motherfucker. Here's my lane. If you run an account where your gimmick is you have to be constantly negative towards WWE or AEW, you're a fucking pathetic loser, okay? Because this week, AEW is doing good, and you have to look like a fucking moron to make content because you know in your heart that AEW is having a good week. I don't like Tony Khan. I don't like AEW, but I'm a fan of wrestling, and I'm a fan of this fucking sport, and I'm a fan of good fucking TV. And this week, it has been good fucking TV, and you have to give him the credit. Because if you can't give Tony Khan credit when he does things right, then I don't fucking take you seriously when you criticize this fucking loser, okay?
Good point. You lose all credibility. You lose all credibility, yeah.
And here's the other thing, too. If you're a fan working a gimmick, like, I'm Mr. Anti-AEW, just fucking blow your brains out. Go into your room, buy a handgun, and blow your fucking brains out because you will be of no use to any woman that you ever meet. You will be of no use to your parents were they to get sick, and you're of no use to your siblings who probably resent the fact that your parents didn't pull out when they had you, okay? You're a fucking loser, and you should die. All right. So with all that said, I'm still going to watch Saturday's main event.
That guy's probably a loser, so I wouldn't even worry.
Somebody found a picture of him because he tried to criticize AEW for having Hangman Page hit.
Wait, look, tell me what the name is so I can look up this guy.
The Death of AEW on Twitter. That's the name. Also, AEW is never dying, by the way. It's never dying. Like, it could be the worst show on TV. This guy is going to keep it going. So even that little gimmick you think you're going to run where you're like, oh, I'm doing the Death of AEW. Not happening, brother. Call it something else.
Yeah, this guy's an idiot. He doesn't understand how money works.
No.
What does he look like?
Like a black guy in his like 60s, I think.
Oh, what a loser! This guy. Is that really what he looks like?
That's what they told me.
Oh, well.
I didn't pay attention. I just made a little comment, like, bro, like, focus on your own pug, stay in lane. What lane? Yeah, I do stay in my lane where I'm a human being who has people that love me, and I have a successful career as a comedian. That's my lane. Your lane is sitting in your room, fucking probably eating the shit that falls out of your ass and making an account called The Death of AEW. Anyway.
Yeah, what a loser. Anyway, he's probably a loser, dude.
No, I just wanted to stay in my lane.
Is a loser, dude. He's a loser. Can you imagine You have no life. That's what you do all day. That's very pathetic. That's whatever. Who cares? Let's talk about something more important than that.
WrestleMania 13.
WrestleMania 13. Yeah. This was an awesome show, maybe. Depends.
Uh, dude, this was the best WrestleMania since WrestleMania 8. That's number one. Number two, this is the show that got me back into wrestling back in 1998. And it's funny because it feels like WWE is very low when it starts because there's no pageantry to this WrestleMania. There's no like celebrities. It's a very small building. But once the show gets going, you know WWE is going to be okay. They're not going to go out of business. They can fight back against Eric Bischoff. You know?
Okay. So WrestleMania 8 was good. That was the one that had like Bret Hart versus Roddy Piper, Savage versus Ric Flair. It was okay. Actually, I don't remember it being really good.
9 is awful. 11 is disgusting. 11 and 12 is boring. So
9 was really bad. That's the one where they took place in Caesar's Palace and they had the Yokozuna be a champion for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
WrestleMania 10 had
ladder.
WrestleMania 10 was pretty good, right? They had the ladder match.
Yeah, but it was like the first WrestleMania. Like now it's like you could feel the companies going down the toilet at that WrestleMania. Like even though the match,
but that one had Owen Hart versus Bret Hart.
That's another.
And it had the ladder match. I'm gonna say I thought WrestleMania 10 was better than WrestleMania 13.
All right, you can say that.
Yeah.
I think the big match on this show is better than those two matches.
Yes, though so WrestleMania 13, in my opinion, is a in your house level pay-per-view, except for one match. One match is is a match you got to show people who are not wrestling fans. Like that's the kind of match it is.
This is bro. This is my so when I rent WrestleMania 13 back in January 98, it's a cold Friday of 1998. When I start watching the show and the new Blackjacks come out, I'm like, this is so fucking sad what WrestleMania has become, right? And I'm like embarrassed that I rented this. And then when we get to that match, bro, I like look at what I'm doing in my life. I'm doing this podcast with you. I'm 44 years old. I never stopped watching wrestling because of that match. I got back in and I never left because of that match. That's how good that match is.
Yeah, and we'll get to it. I think that match is we'll get to that match actually. I feel like I'm spending too much time on it, but yes, it is a very good match. But we're gonna get into WrestleMania 13. Heat is what they're taglining it. It takes place March 23rd in 1997 at the Rosemont Arena in Illinois. 18,000 people are in attendance, and it's got 237,000 pay-per-view buys. Now, let's do some comparison. WrestleMania 12, the WrestleMania that happened before this one, the one that had Shawn Michaels beat Bret Hart in a 60-minute Iron Man match, that one had 290,000 pay-per-view buys. So it actually, that boring match outdrew WrestleMania 13.
Well, I also think you're not counting also that we had Diesel versus Undertaker, and we had Roddy Piper versus Goldust. Now, all these high pay-per-view buys in WCW, Roddy Piper's there. You can't discount that Roddy Piper having a big match with Goldust didn't move some tickets, brother.
Absolutely, because because you just mentioned it, on the other side in WCW, their March pay-per-view, which is uncensored, taking place March 16th, which is a week before WrestleMania 13, had the pay-per-view buys of 325,000. So it's nearly 100,000 more pay-per-view buys than WWF at this time. If anything, I would say Number one, I do agree with you. Roddy Piper sells, even in 1997, he's still selling tickets. And number two, maybe the bad taste of the Iron Man match kind of soured off a lot of fans. I didn't think it was that bad of a match, the Iron Man match, but yeah, it is not. It is kind of a lackluster main event.
The other thing too is like, and you can feel it on this show, is that WrestleMania no longer feels special. Now,
yeah, I will agree with you on that. It does. That feeling of like this is the big time is gone, and at this
they almost kind of reference that in the opening video. They almost kind of reference that like it's not the same this year as it usually is. Like they kind of reference that.
So the show opens with this.
There's no America the Beautiful. It just opens with a video.
Yes, there's no more singing of the national anthem, America the Beautiful. It just opens with an intro graphic. It's black and white. It goes over the cards of all the matches, and the guy, the voiceover ends with "None of these men are smiling." I'm like, yeah, but they're not. They're not smiling. Like they're making less money than they used to make.
Yeah. I kind of feel like this is like a commentary on how Vince feels like the company is. Like, this is supposed to be a big deal, this show. This is supposed to be, and he shows you these. The funniest thing about the video, it shows you these giant arenas. It shows you like all these celebrities, and then it's like, but instead we just got a bunch of angry people. Like that's like, and I kind of like Vince is being like, yeah, we were once great, and now we're in disarray. And how are we going to get there? How are we going to get back to what we were at WrestleMania 3? It does feel like Vince is his subconscious is commenting on what's going on in the whole wrestling world. That it's no longer a big deal to be at WrestleMania, you know?
They get it back at the very next WrestleMania, right?
Well, the next opening video almost feels like a rebuttal to this, where it's like WrestleMania is always a big deal, even if like everyone's cursing and dressing in women's clothing and beating up women. It's still a big deal to be here, you know?
Oh, okay. So yeah, there's just like to his credit, he's a survivalist. Junior is, and Junior will actually be on commentary for WrestleMania 13 alongside Jerry King Lawler and Jim Ross. Let's go right to our first match. Ray did mention who was one of the participants in this first match. It's a 4-way elimination tag match for the number one contenders for the tag titles. So it's not even for the tag titles; it's to become the number one contender for the tag titles. It is the Godwins, Henry and Phineas, with Hillbilly Jim, versus the Headbangers. Yeah, Thrasher and Mosh are in here, and Phil LaFon and Doug Furnace are still here in this company. And their other opponent, the last of the four, is the new Blackjacks. And as they're introducing the Blackjacks, they show us footage of the old Blackjack, the original Blackjacks, Blackjack, Mulligan, and Lanza. And these new ones are John Bradshaw Layfield, or Justin Hawk Bradshaw at this point, right? That's what his name is, Justin Hawk Bradshaw, right?
Yeah.
And Barry Windham. Yes, right. Barry Windham's still with this company. He's no longer the stalker. And the new Blackjacks, before the match, they get promo time with Todd Pettengill, and they just cut like a regular promo, and that's who's going to be in it.
Dude, the new Blackjacks, to me, the problem with like the 70s gimmicks. So, number one, WWE didn't make the 70s footage readily available. Like you barely saw the Blackjacks in the old Coliseum videos. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it just feels like a long time ago. So it's hard for like a young kid to feel nostalgia for it. Whereas, I don't know, if they did like the new Dudley Boys, I guess, kids could go on Peacock and see the old Dudley Boys. Oh, wow, this is cool. And it just felt like, because Vince had spent so many years running away from like the Hogan era. It felt like, man, all he had is the shitty 70s era. That like, it's not shitty, they made a lot of money, but like it wasn't like on national TV. It just felt very sad, the new Blackjacks, and it felt like a downgrade.
How did he not learn from the new Rockers? Like, it's such a bad idea, I
think I'll look, here's the thing I will say. Just Barry Windham and JBL in a tag team, just put that on the surface. That's a great idea, but not making the Blackjacks. Because Barry Windham can teach JBL how to be a great worker, and they're similar body types, but the way they did it was very all wrong, all wrong.
And the reason why I think they did the Blackjacks thing is because Blackjack Mulligan is Barry Windham's father, I believe, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and that's the reason why he did. Barry Windham's father was actually he was one of the original Blackjacks, Blackjack Mulligan, and that's why they did this. But yeah, it's just like, how do they not learn from the new rockers? And thank God they don't do stuff like this anymore. You know, like thank God we don't have like a new headbangers. Thank God we don't have a new high energy. You know,
they should do a new Blackjacks.
They should do a new day. They should just call it a new day, and it should be Obafemi. It should be Obafemi, Trick Williams, and Carmelo Hayes. That should be the new
you know what? Day. They should do that, and then have the New Day like try to react to it. Like they're like, what's going on? Like, no, we're the new day.
Yeah. We're the new day. And then they have a feud, but then ultimately they decide that we could all be friends, and they combine, and it's the new day. That's what they should call themselves.
New day.
All right, so let's get into this 4-way elimination tag match. Keep in mind, it's an elimination. So if one of the tag team members gets like counted out or pinned or submits, both members of the team are gone. All right, until there's one team left. Yeah, so everybody starts fighting and brawling to begin this, and eventually it leads to each team going into their own respective corners, and you can tag anybody in. So if you wanted to, you could like tag in like both the members of the same team or something like that. So what do you call it? It's whatever it is. Anyway, Blackjacks, after they got all this hype, where we got old footage of the original Blackjacks, and they're the only teams that got promo time. They start brawling outside with Doug Furnas and Phil LaFon on the floor, and Bradshaw shoves the referee while they're on the floor, so the referee falls down. So he eliminates the Blackjacks for this as a DQ. They're the first ones eliminated. I'm like, why did you guys give them all this hype if they're going to be the first ones eliminated?
I would have had the Blackjacks win this because they're such big guys.
Dude, that's what I thought was going to happen.
And they're big guys, and I think like the whole reason in my mind, and again, I don't know where Vince is, and I never expected. By the way, I never expected Bradshaw to win a world title. But in my mind, I'm using Barry Windham to get Bradshaw ready for the world title. So we need to really give these guys a push for when Bradshaw turns on Barry, because my whole thing is they team for a while and then he turns on Barry Windham and he beats the shit out of him. By the way, when they do break up, Barry Windham beats the shit out of JBL, which just goes to show you how much they put into this.
Backwards teams are back then. Yeah. But yeah, they're the first ones eliminated in a very uneventful, unmemorable way. And then Doug Furnas and Phil LaFon, they get counted out like pretty much right away as well, because they were on the floor and they missed the count out. So it's basically a one-on-one tag team match. Yeah. This was stupid. I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? So it's really just the Godwins versus the Headbangers. And
main event, that's a WrestleMania match. Come on, brother. Oos, what do you?
Yeah, I was just like, okay, I guess they just wanted to get paydays for all of them. I guess that's probably what it was. It's just like, I just want to make sure you guys get some money, Maybe that's why they put all 4 tag teams in there. Anyway, Phineas.
Yeah, I think also, there's a lot of people not on this card, and I think because WrestleMania is always the biggest payday, I think they had to like find a way to get some people on the card. There's a lot of people not on this card, and I know like fucking Too Cold Scorpio and Billy Gunn are probably livid. Like, really, I'm not at WrestleMania. I don't get a match. Yeah.
Exactly, it's probably right. So hey, not everybody can be at WrestleMania. That's just like a hard rule. That just needs to be a whole thing.
I know, but like keeps like, listen, even these guys, we get these guys in and out, but at least they get. But Barry Windham's probably like, listen, bro. At his age, I'm sure Barry Windham's like, yeah, I wrestle for 2 minutes and I get the WrestleMania payday. Fuck yeah,
Yeah, that's true. So it's a one-on-one tag team match, and Thrasher, he no-sells Phineas's headbutt, and Phineas just like So I think they start spitting on each other, which was very weird. I don't know if that was some. They just started spitting on each other. It was stupid. It was a little bit like they didn't like each other for real, but who cares? The headbangers, they do some high dives to Henry Godwin on the floor. Then Phineas makes the hot tag in after a beatdown process, but he makes a hot tag in. There's no crowd reaction at all. Nobody cares about Phineas. Mosh does a top rope seated senton on Phineas to win the #1 contender tag title shots for the headbangers in the future. C+, very lackluster opening match.
Yeah, going away from wrestling for so long and coming back to this match was very. I knew why WCW won,
Mm-hmm.
having this be the first match. It's not a good way to start WrestleMania. I mean, I have something I'll say about that other tag match later on. It's not a good way to start. It really emphasizes that he's got nobody left. He's got nobody left to really make a difference in this company. Not very good at all. Very disappointing beginning. I just would have had the Blackjacks versus the Godwins, honestly, if I'm thinking about it. There's no reason to. You know what? I'd rather have Too Cool Scorpio on the card than fucking Furnace and LaFon. Let's be fucking real.
Yeah, no, I agree. I also agree with you on that. So you could tell Junior's heart's not even in this pay-per-view because we already get a April In Your House promo package already. Like, I can't wait for WrestleMania to be over. Let's just go to In Your House. And the closing shot of this April In Your House promo is Stone Cold Steve Austin with his catchphrase. Because Stone Cold said so. So already, he is already a big deal before this match. This famous match that he's going to have, he's already a big deal because he's the closing shot. He's not even a champion, dude. That's very rare for that to be happening, right?
Well, they knew where they were hoping they knew where they were going. But yeah, it was having that commercial so soon at WrestleMania was kind of funny. It was like almost like we gotta get past this.
And people when you go back and when WWE revisits history, they talk about how like this Bret Hart Stone Cold Steve Austin match was what put Austin on the map, but you could tell that's not actually true because he's already
I do think that's true, but let's talk about the match because I have a point. I don't want to argue with you about this because I want to get into the meat of the match.
Okay, yeah, you got it. But anyway, moving along, we have Honky Tonk Man. He's back and he's dancing in the ring. And while he's dancing in the ring, I did see a Vince McMahon is God sign in the front row, so that was very interesting.
I mean, he is God. I mean, that's not.
Fans are already finding out that this is we're getting into there's no more kayfabe kind of area of wrestling now. Who else is who's there in the front row is Arnold Skolin, Captain Lou Albano. They're sitting ringside. They're saying, hey, these guys are here. These veterans, these Hall of Famers are here. As Honky Tonk Man joins commentary. And on commentary, he is going to be making fun of and shitting all over the person in this next match, Rocky Maivia. That's right. Second match. It is for the Intercontinental title. We got Sultan Fatu with the Iron Sheik and Bob Backlund versus the Intercontinental Champion, Rocky Maivia. And they do show Tony Atlas is also sitting at ringside, who was a tag team partner of Rocky Maivia's father, Rocky Johnson.
They're really leaning. This was the problem with this show, and I remember seeing it. They're really leaning on like the late 70s, early 80s nostalgia, but Vince never went to that era. Like he acted like that era didn't exist during the Hogan stuff, during the Hogan.
Correct. He almost like he erased it.
Yeah, and now he's going back to it because he doesn't want to acknowledge the 80s guys, the 80s because they all left.
Because they're all in WCW.
And it's like, bro, you actually, like, Rocky Johnson, I never heard anyone talk about Rocky Johnson until The Rock showed up. Like, he didn't celebrate this guy. This guy was like a mid-carder that he couldn't wait to move away from the minute fucking Hogan showed up, you know?
And do you know why they didn't ever talk about Rocky Johnson?
I didn't like well, I think like they didn't want these guys to steal Hogan's shadow, right?
No, he was accused of rape.
Oh, well, yeah, well, but no,
Yeah,
Vince would have given the title if that was true. Come on.
yeah.
Vince
He
was
had
like,
to
Hogan,
go like
Hogan,
they
Hogan.
brushed they people try to like because The Rock is who he is, they don't want to ever bring this up. But the reason why Rocky Johnson wasn't really part of the whole rock and wrestling thing was because I think he was accused of like underage rape, and he had to
He's got a
go.
lot of he's got a lot of issues. They tried to
Yeah,
make him a
The Rock's
junior.
father has a lot of. I like The Rock, but his father had a lot of issues. Yeah,
I mean,
you know.
The Rock did an interview with Oprah where he talked about it, by the way. So it's out there. He's not like he hides it, but he doesn't like dwell on it. And
Well, on his TV show, Young Rock, he definitely hit it.
oh, okay.
Um,
Well, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, he talked about him being abusive to Oprah on the O Network, which I can't believe that's still a thing, the O Network. But yeah, so
Yeah. I'll tell you what else was abusive: the fans, because in this match you can already hear the Rocky sucks chants, which Rock acknowledged on his TV show, The Young Rock. At WrestleMania, he was getting Rocky suck chants, and he did. He is getting Rocky suck chants. You can hear it when Rikishi and Rock are fighting on the floor, and then Rocky, when the Sultan starts beating on the Rock, you can hear it again. The Rocky suck chant start again. Um, Rocky does this great float over DDT that does get some cheers, and then Rocky eventually rolls up the Sultan to win the match. Afterwards, Jim Ross goes over to Rocky Maivia to try to talk to him, but then the Sultan attacks Rocky with the Intercontinental title belt from behind, and then he body splashes him. The Iron Sheik puts Rocky Maivia in the camel clutch, and then Rocky Johnson, The Rock's father, comes running down to save his son. And when he does so, the save is short lived as he gets beaten up with the Iranian flag or whatever the flag it is. And then Rocky Johnson gets back up, he fights back, and both the Johnsons, they both take turns slamming the Iron Sheik, and they stand tall and they hug each other. C plus. This was boring as hell. It was stupid. I thought the whole time they're telling us Rocky Johnson's not here, guys. Rocky Johnson's not here. So, and I thought Tony Atlas was gonna jump because why are they showing Tony Atlas? They're showing Tony Atlas. They're like,
Atlas does nothing.
Yeah, he does nothing. But they were like, Tony Atlas.
Tony Atlas showed up because he thought he was gonna be able to see Sable's feet. That's why he showed up.
Oh yeah, this is so stupid. It's dumb.
I didn't think. I actually thought it was a pretty good match. Again, I'm impressed by Rock. You have to consider how new he is. That I didn't think this match was that bad. I thought it was good. I think the having Rock being saved by his dad made him look like a bitch. But
Yes.
I thought The Rock's work in the ring. I remember thinking this match sucked when I saw it in '97. But I don't know. I think The Rock, every time I see him as we go through this journey, he gets better and better. Like, this is a guy, like the fans can say what they want, but this is a guy who learns, picks up stuff every match. And I didn't think it was that bad. The finish is bad. Iron Sheik beating him up is fucking horrendous considering who he's going to become. But the general match itself was okay.
Yeah, I would say Rocky Johnson. Oh, by the way, in Young Rock, he does acknowledge that him being saved by his dad was really not a good look. It was a bad look.
Horrible.
Yeah, he
horrible,
said it made him look bad. Yeah. Actually, Rocky Johnson was accused of rape, but it was not an underage woman. It was 19-year-old. Close. It was 19 years old. Yes.
Right.
Anyway.
If it was underage, Vince would have given the belt. Come on,
Yeah.
What you would call it? But what's the guy's name? There's a guy whose dad is one of the Beverly Brothers in NXT. It's the equivalent of that guy being saved by the Beverly brother on NXT.
Yeah, it was God, what was his freaking name? It was Von Wagner. Wagner being saved by his father. Von Wagner, I think, right now has a job with AEW, but not as a wrestler. He's like working as like security for him or something. I'm not even making it up. I'm being serious. I think he wrestled some matches actually Ring of Honor, but I think he's working as like something on Dynamite, like a security guard. Yeah, he was like a security guard in Dynamite.
Yeah. So like, yeah, I'm cool with that guy. But yeah, the finish did damage to the character, but the overall match, the overall work, and again, Rikishi's an underrated worker, you know. So this is just really this is a Bloodline Rules match. That's why.
Yeah, I didn't like it. There was no. It was like this match was also shouldn't have been on pay-per-view.
Mhm. I mean, yes, nobody cares about these guys at this point. So yeah.
Yeah. So Todd Pettengill, he's in the back with Ken Shamrock. They're talking about the Monday Night Raw confrontation Ken Shamrock had with Billy Gunn. And Ken Shamrock says, "Listen, I'm not going to be intimidated by anybody here. Okay, I'm here to do my job." And it's like, all right, this guy's no nonsense. Then after that, we got Doc Hendricks. He is with.
You forgot my favorite part is when they're showing him beating up Billy Gunn. He goes, "I'm not trying to hurt him. I'm just trying to show him who I am." And I really like that line. That's a really good line. And how he narrates the holds he can put Billy Gunn in. I thought Ken Shamrock did a very good job on the mic compared to some other people on this show.
I think Ken Shamrock did a really good job at this WrestleMania.
Oh, everything he does is great.
Yeah, everything he does. Now, you talk about somebody who's brand new. Actually, that's not true. People don't realize this.
He was wrestling before you see, right?
Yeah, Ken Shamrock was actually a pro wrestler before he got into the MMA. He only went into the MMA because pro wrestling really wasn't turning out the way he wanted it to, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he actually that's why he's so good. I was like, because I forgot for a moment, it's like this guy, it's like he's on his first day, he's doing great, but it's like, oh, it's because he actually is a pro wrestler. I've seen some of his pre WWF pro wrestling stuff on UWFI in Japan. It's not bad.
I will say too, because I wasn't into UFC or MMA, especially not in 1997. Nobody is. And I thought he did a really good job of like, I'm different than these guys because I'm MMA. And he did a good job of like making them look cool, making them look like badasses. And
I would say he's the only one who did.
Yeah, well, they don't really give anyone the mic besides him, but yeah, you're right.
Dan Severn didn't make him UFC look cool.
No.
Tank Abbott didn't, right?
No,
they were all MMA guys.
I mean, the thing about it is that nobody really watches MMA until like the Ultimate Fighter when you get people. So like all these guys didn't do, but Ken Shamrock was he's a good first representative of UFC MMA.
Yeah, I actually used to watch Ken Shamrock in those UFC videos. I saw him fight this big fat dude called Chemo, and he's getting his ass kicked, and all of a sudden he puts on this ankle lock and he wins the match. It's pretty interesting. It's like it was a legit move. Like he was this legit move. And here's the thing too about mixed martial arts. Did you know that there is a history of pro wrestlers joining MMA and just dominating completely? Like everybody knows Ken Shamrock, everybody knows Brock Lesnar doing that. In Japan, there was this guy named Sakurabu who's still pro wrestling to this day. He's still a pro wrestler to this day in Noah. He went to Pride to show how strong pro wrestlers were, and he was the guy who was beating the Gracies one after the next. Remember that guy, the Gracie Killer? And he's a pro wrestler. And so pro wrestling is like, I don't know how it'll be now, but old school pro wrestlers, like they were legit some of the strongest people most dangerous people you'll actually meet. But you know who else is dangerous? China. That's right. Doc Hendricks. He is in the back with Triple H, Hunter Helmsley, and China. And they say Marlena, because this whole thing happened because Hunter wanted Marlena to be his valet, and she said no. And Hunter basically tells us Marlena is a loser for turning him down. She had her chance, but now she doesn't have any more chances. And now we're going to go into our third match.
I thought this promo, by the way, Triple H's promo was horrendous. It's one of the worst. He's so bad at this promo, bro. He's so bad at this promo. He's emphasizing
He's
the
not
wrong
that he's
words.
not that good with this character. This
Yeah.
character, it's like he's and it's I feel bad for him because he's been saddled with this character since WCW.
Well,
Right?
he's trying to move away from that character, but he doesn't have a character to move away to.
Exactly. Yes, he doesn't have a character. You could tell he doesn't like this character and he doesn't want to do this character. But you're right. Like you can't just go, I don't want to do it anymore. They're like, if you don't want to do this, what do you want to do? Like you gotta have a better idea. He doesn't have that idea yet, right? But this is a good step towards in that direction, though. We're getting China in there. Um, so it's Hunter Helmsley with China versus Goldust with Marlena. Goldust spits on China, and she just no sells it. She just standing there like a stone. She no sells the spit, which was awesome. Goldust beats
Mhm.
on Helmsley most of this match until Hunter drops Goldust from the top of the turnbuckles onto the floor. From there, the beatdown begins. Jim Ross he mocks China for looking like Mr. Ed, and he goes, yeah, she looks more like Mr. Ed because she's got that big jaw that she will eventually get plastic surgery for, but this is pre-plastic surgery.
Mhm.
She does not move in this match at all, by the way. This match, she's just standing ringside with her arms folded like a statue.
Oh,
It's visually, it's fantastic.
she already knows what to do. She already has it figured out.
Yes. But as this match is progressing, um, she moves over to Marlena very late in the match. Goldust is in control of this match at this point, but then he sees this. He sees that China has moved over to Marlena. So he goes over and he grabs Marlena and pulls her up into the apron to get her away from harm's way. And Helmsley, he does his like jumping knee to Goldust from the back, and he inadvertently knocks Marlena off the apron right into China's arms, and China starts ragdolling her in a bear hug. And while this is happening, Hunter Helmsley hits the pedigree on Goldust to win the match. I gave this a B minus. This was the first match that I was actually like, this is actually worth watching. Decent.
Really, I thought it was kind of boring. I mean, it's fine. It just,
The
I don't
ending
know.
was cool. The ending was very well
I
done.
mean, the ending is great. The ending is great for China, but some of the work it just seemed very again. It doesn't feel like WrestleMania. Nothing has felt like WrestleMania yet. It just feels like in your house. It feels like a WCW show. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I gave this a B minus. I think it only went up from a C plus to a B minus because of the ending. Last time we talked about this, we talked about her Dark Side of the Ring documentary because it's like 2 hours. I actually did watch it. I finally did get to watch it. Not a very well made documentary. They leave a lot of open ended questions. Um, and I hate to say this, but I did not feel bad for her. Kind of when I was listening to that story about the whole Triple H cheating on her because she cheated on her boyfriend first with Triple H. So kind of like what comes around, right? Um, Here's something I didn't know. She is the one who actually approached Shawn Michaels and Hunter, not the other way around. Like I always
Mm.
she wasn't a wrestling fan. She wanted to do acting. She wanted to be in Hollywood. And then when she saw wrestling on TV, she realized that's something I can do. And she got training, and then somebody she knew Shawn Michaels, so she reached out to them, and she sold them on the idea and her actually being a part of the group. So I didn't know that. I always thought it was like I was always heard Triple H discover her, but that's not actually was the case. Um,
I mean, let's wait further down the timeline for me to tell you if I feel bad for her or not. But I will say that she's the only reason he's over at this point in
yeah,
'97.
she did a good job here at WrestleMania. After this, we do see Shawn Michaels, who I just mentioned, in the AOL chat room trying to type. I was hoping that this would be the only time I would ever see Shawn Michaels at this pay-per-view, but it is not. We'll get more Shawn Michaels later, but we got to move on to match number 4, right, Ray? It's a tag team match for the
Yes.
tag team titles. Vader and Mankind with their manager, Paul Bear, versus the tag team champions, Davey Boy Smith and Owen Hart. Jim Ross tries to interview Davey and Owen as they're making their way to the ring about how these two have been having some troubles between them. And he's trying to stir something up, but they go like, "Get out of here, Jim Ross. You're trying to start off some trouble." I do see some Owen Hart signs in the crowd. Owen Hart's over. There's even one that says, "I want to touch Owen. I want to touch your slammy," which I thought was pretty funny. Interesting stuff. Owen, by the way, begins this match with Vader. Vader and Mankind, they're going to double team on Davey, but then Davey Boy Smith will double clothesline them both down. And Davey suplexes Vader, and then he goes flying over the top rope. But he's hit with the urn by Vader. So Davey was doing good until he got spot, and now Vader starts taking over. Vader suplexes Davey Boy Smith. He squashes him. He splashes him. But he just can't put Davey away. Davey keeps kicking out. Vader and Mankind, they decide we're going to double team Owen Hart on the floor. And they start beating Owen Hart in front of the Hart parents who are sitting front row. That's right. Stu and Helen are sitting front row. Mankind puts the mandible claw on Davey Boy Smith, but Owen falls onto both of them, knocking them both out of the ring for a count out. That's right. They both teams get counted out. They keep fighting on the floor, and Davey Boy Smith gets knocked out because Mankind puts a mandible claw on him. This was stupid. C+. This was dumb.
Wait, why? Every fucking pay-per-view do they have Owen and British Bulldog fighting heels? I don't understand it. Either turn them face or stop. Nobody cares because these guys just fucking have them fight the headbangers on this show. Or how about this? Make the main event a fatal four-way. You fucking worked the month before, put Mankind and Vader in that match, and have Undertaker be all three guys. Like, I don't understand. Like, Mankind and Vader had a killer year for this company. Well, not so much Vader. And you're just wasting them on this tag match. Like you need an attraction. You mean to tell me you can't like give Mankind a single? You Mankind versus Owen Hart at the very least. I don't know what to tell you. Like, but this is like a waste of all four guys. It's like
I would have done Mankind versus Vader. Just would have been like Mankind Vader. Just go at it. Just fucking go at it. Or how about
Mankind versus Too Cold Scorpio? There you go.
Yeah, but this was awful. Yeah, this was I agree. This was a waste of all four of them. You know.
Yeah. And the crowd doesn't care because, again, the crowd, they're all heels. And they keep doing this. And, bro, I used to think, like, oh, British Bulldog and Owen Hart are a good tag team. But I don't think it's their fault because it's like, just make a couple of good guy tag teams so these fucking guys can have pay-per-view opponents. And if you don't want them, they never fight the Godwins on pay-per-view. So then you must not think the Godwins are very good because they're never fighting these guys. You always have the bad guys fighting them. Makes no sense to me.
Yeah, and I was at this point. We're like 4 matches in. I'm like, I hate this pay-per-view. I was like dragging my feet watching this garbage. But then we get a video package of Bret Hart losing it. He's just starting to lose it. He's like, ever since I came back, things are different. I don't like it. And juxtaposed to this is the rise of Stone Cold Steve Austin. And these two have their issues, and this package goes over their issues. And this is what's going to lead to a match number 5 with special guest referee Ken Shamrock for this submissions match. We see Stone Cold Steve Austin. Go ahead.
Let me give you some backstory in this match real quick, okay?
Yes, please.
Austin
Please do.
Got a little injured and took off a Raw. And so he's home watching it. And he's home watching Raw, and Vince goes, he knows he's going to fight Bret Hart at WrestleMania, right? And Vince goes, at WrestleMania in a few weeks, we're going to have Bret Hart versus Austin in a submissions match. And he calls up Jim Ross. He's like, I don't have a fucking submission move. Why would you book me in a submissions match? I don't even know how this is going to be any good. And so he's like, well, you've just ruined WrestleMania because I can't have a good match like that. And here's the thing that I don't know if we ever talked about. Me, the Gootz, spoke to Bret Hart about this match in 2005 at Caroline's. He came for a ringside to like
Really?
pizza, I think. And he was in the office. Did we talk about this? I had a conversation with Bret Hart.
No, no, please keep going.
And I told Bret Hart that I thought wrestling was stupid. And then I rented WrestleMania 13 and I haven't stopped watching. And I said, it's the best match I ever saw, and you really made Austin. And he goes, like, I told Austin that night. He goes, I walked in, I said, this match is gonna change your life, and we're gonna make you the way I have this set up. And he goes, and he says to me, it's my favorite match I've ever had. He said to me in 2005. He said, I knew going in that I was gonna like not only steal the show, but change Austin's life.
Wow. I mean, actually, I've heard Bret say that, yeah, in interviews. Like so I think it's true, like, because he doesn't change that story. He says
No.
that, yeah, in an interview, he does say that story. That's very interesting. So, we see Austin walking from the back towards the entrance, and then we get that glass breaking entrance, which is so fucking cool. And Austin comes out, and there are already so many Stone Cold Steve Austin 360 signs everywhere.
The thing that's interesting to me, his pop isn't that big when he walks out. And that's interesting because he's still being portrayed as, the thing about it is he's still being portrayed until the middle of this match as a heel. He's a heel that people like, but the company is showing him as a heel.
Yes.
And it's interesting to me.
It's almost like the best comparison I could think of is like The Undertaker. You know, when The Undertaker was still a bad guy, there were people coming up dressed like him. There were people who were like, I'm a fan of this guy. But people enjoyed watching him and stuff, but he wasn't a good guy, so you couldn't really cheer him too much. And that's kind of like what Austin is right now. And Bret Hart comes out, and he is still the fan favorite.
He gets good pop when he walks out.
Yeah, he's still the fan favorite. He absolutely is still the fan favorite when he comes out. So it's very important to note those two things, okay? Austin doesn't get really much of a pop, even though there's lots of fan signs everywhere. And Bret still gets the reaction that you expect Bret Hart to get. That's a big fan favorite reaction. Austin double legs tries to take down right away on Bret Hart, and they start rolling. They roll all the way out to the floor, and Austin meets the ring post. Bret then gets crotched on the guardrail, and he gets clotheslined off the guardrail right in front of Captain Lou. And I don't know, did you see the bowl cut kid? He was there, right there. He was like mugging for the camera. That bowl cut kid's got a lot of money, that kid, whoever he is. So they fight through the crowd. Austin and Bret, they're fighting through the crowd. Austin throws soda at Bret Hart, but then Bret back body drops Austin onto the concrete. Ouch. As they're walking back towards the ring, you see they walk past a giant RF video sign. Did you see the RF video?
Yes, yeah. It's a rowdy crowd, this WrestleMania crowd. It's a rowdy crowd. I think it must have been cheap.
Yeah, if you do not know what RF video is, RF video was created by Rob Feinstein, who would go on years later and he created Ring of Honor. And then he was caught with child pornography, and he had to sell.
No, he was trying to meet kids. He was trying to meet a kid.
Oh, trying to meet a kid, yeah. I think they did.
Pornography. Don't say that. This guy could
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was trying to meet a kid, allegedly. But RF video is still around, by the way. It is still around.
And Tommy Dreamer and a bunch of them are still friends of his. So
Yeah. So he's still there. I shook his hand once.
Dude, that's good.
Yeah,
like, hey, brother.
I was. I think I was too old, but I did shake his hand once. Anyway, Bret gets tossed onto they come back into the ringside, and he gets tossed into the steel steps really hard. Back in the ring, Bret starts working on Austin's left knee, right? Because even though he got hit with the steel steps, he's like, dude, I'm gonna take control of this match. However, Austin hits the stunner, and that gives him some breathing room. However, Bret Hart, he's firing back. He's still trying to work this leg. He puts the figure 4 on the ring post on Austin that gets cheers. And he does it right in front of the Hart parents, Helen and Stu, which I thought was kind of fun. And then Bret puts a chair around Steve's left leg, and he goes up on top. But Austin gets up and he takes a chair and he brains Bret Hart with the chair, and then Austin starts taking over.
Well, hold on. This is the moment when I watched this in '97 where I was like back in because Austin hits him with a chair, and the crowd. So, by the way, this crowd has been just okay the whole night. Now they're going, but at this point in the match, the crowd is going ballistic. Like they can't control themselves. They're going ballistic, and Jerry Lawler screams, "It's WrestleMania, baby!" And it just feels like everyone is having a great time. The announcers, the crowd, Austin and Bret. The other thing I like about the start of this match is there's no moment like us taking the moment. There's no like feeling out. They just go right into it. They don't give
They're
up.
just fighting. It looks like a fight.
They just start fighting, and you know, Cody Rhodes got whipped for 90 hours, and then him and John Cena just standing there like two fucking idiots at this year at WrestleMania. Oh man, it was so everything about this match was so good. But yeah,
they're not posing. They went straight on fighting right away. And as Austin takes over, you mentioned Jim Ross. Jim Ross is so into this, and he starts going, "This is not about the past. We're not talking about the past.
Yes.
We're not talking about posing. We're not talking about no bald spots. This is wrestling," right?
Yeah, because he knows like the Piper and Hogan and Savage, they can't touch this match at this point in their careers.
Exactly.
And,
Subtle shots at WCW.
Starting with around the chair spot, the crowd is starting to realize they have permission. What I mean by permission, they know they can sense that the narrative of the company is Austin's now a good guy. They start going nuts because now they know because there was because remember fans kind of still played along back then. They're not ECWs, but now they know oh shit, we can start cheering for this guy. This guy's now going to be the hero. They around the chair shots, they start going ballistic for Austin. They start cheering for Austin like they need like they're drowning at Austin's air. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely. This crowd is livid. Let me just turn off some candles. And let me go back to this. So Bret Hart, not only is his parents there, his young daughter, Bret Hart's young daughter is there, and she starts covering up her eyes as Austin has now started putting his moves on Bret, including his first submissions move that he's putting on. Remember, it is a submissions match. You could only win by submission, no pinfalls. Now, Austin has taken over, and he's putting on some moves on Bret. But this is where his downfall starts coming on. Steve can't help but mock Bret Hart. And he goes, "I'll put the sharpshooter on Bret." And he starts mocking that he's going to do it. And as he's putting on the sharpshooter, Bret Hart rakes Stone Cold Steve Austin's eyes and starts fighting back. Austin chucks Bret out of the ring, and then he poses to the crowd, which still does get boos, okay? Because that was a heel thing he did, and people still booed him. And then when this happens, this was key because the two moments, Austin started fighting Bret right from the beginning, right? But the two moments he took to start posturing are the two moments that starts costing him the match, right? One when he was like, "Oh, look at me, guys! I'm gonna put the sharpshooter on Bret." That one cost him, and then this posing cost him because that momentary, that split second where he just instead of going right after Bret Hart, he took that time to pose, and then when he goes back out to the ring to go after Bret, Bret is able to whip Stone Cold Steve Austin into the announce table. When this happens, Austin has been busted open and he starts bleeding, right? And Bret, like a shark in the water, smells that blood in the water. And he starts beating on Austin. He starts ramming the chair all over Austin's left knee. But Bret can't seem to put on the sharpshooter. He just can't put it on because Austin is still fighting back. However, he's getting very weak. He's bleeding all over the place. He's getting beat on. He's very weak. So he hits a low blow on Bret. That's all he could do. And that low blow helps Austin start firing back. He starts doing the mud hole stomps in the corner. He hits a superplex. And when we do that superplex, we get a first real clear shot of a super bloody faced Austin. That's when you're like, "Oh shit, this is real bad." That's the first time you see it. Austin gets one of the cable cords and he starts wrapping around Bret's neck while Bret's sitting on the apron. But while he's doing that, there was a ring bell that Austin had brought towards the ring, but they didn't get to use. It's sitting on the apron. Bret grabs the ring bell and he fucking overhead clocks Steve Austin with the ring bell, knocking down Steve Austin. This allows Bret to put the sharpshooter on Austin in the very middle of the ring. So it's fucking hard for him to reach any ropes. Austin starts screaming in pain while he's in this sharpshooter, and he's just gushing blood. I don't know. That must have been a deep cut because he was just gushing blood. He does the thing where he tries to like push himself up, and he does break the sharpshooter when he does that, which gets a big applause. But Bret holds on.
Hold on. Stop. Mm-hmm. Still recording? Are you still there? You broke up for a second.
Here. Yeah, I can hear you.
No, you broke up for a second. Is it still recording? Let me see. Yeah, it's still recording. Did you see me? Did you freeze? Did I freeze on your end or no?
Your video went away, and then it came back. You going, hello. I heard you the whole time though. I think.
All right. Well, okay. So keep going. Let's hear about this great match.
Okay, so yeah, Austin is in the sharpshooter and he does push himself up and he's able to break the submission hold. But Bret holds onto the sharpshooter and he just reapplies it. At this point, Ken Shamrock, who is the referee in this match, he starts, going down to Austin. He starts yelling at Austin, "Do you give up? Steve, do you give up?" And Austin has passed out. He can't respond at all. So Shamrock goes, "That's it. It's over. The match is over." He ends the match. The fans cheer. They cheer that Bret won as Steve is just laying there in his own pool of his own blood, not moving. And then Bret, instead of celebrating, just starts attacking Steve Austin's left leg some more. The match is over. He starts stomping on left leg. And Shamrock, he grabs Bret and he tosses him off Steve Austin, and they square off. And Bret's like, "I'm not fighting this guy," and he leaves. And people start booing Bret, and Bret starts looking around like, "You're booing me? Get the hell out of here!" Some fans give him the finger, so he starts giving the finger right back to some fans as he leaves. Austin is very slow to get up. There's a couple of referees who try to help him up, and he just stuns one of the referees, and then he starts limping out. As he's limping out slowly, an Austin chant starts, and they did the next camera shot as he leaves. It's like a blood-stained ring. The ring has so much blood over it. This match, as you guys know, in 2025 will be the first match that's going to go into the Hall of Fame, of the WWE Hall of Fame, as like the first Hall of Fame match ever. This is an A+ match for me. This is one of those matches as a wrestling fan you must watch. I loved it, obviously.
This is one of the best matches in wrestling history. And if it's just a regular match, if it's just a match, it is what it is. But what they do in this match is where they make Austin the new top babyface, but they do something that they've never done before, whereas they do not change the character. All they do is they change Bret Hart a little bit, but Bret Hart, leading up to this, he's justified because he's like, everyone else has changed, not me. So he has a justification for how he's acting. But they make Austin into the next Hulk Hogan in this match, maybe even bigger than Hulk Hogan, some would argue. And they do it it's such a well-told story. And the build up to it from Survivor Series 96 to here is such a great build. And I mean, Austin comes into the match. Austin comes into the match as a really over wrestler and a great wrestler, and he leaves a fucking legend. And I also have to say, Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler do a great job of putting him over at the end and doing subtle things where they let you know you don't have to like him, you don't have to like what he is, but you have to respect him. Like, he did not give up. They put him over, and it's such a well done face turn. They could never do any. It's like crazy to me.
Uh-oh. It froze, Ray.
This match kicks it all off, you know?
Is there any other match where it's like this, where the guy will lose and him losing, he becomes an even bigger star?
I think they tried to do it. It never works after this. I'm trying to think. Maybe they've tried it. There's some matches where like Benoit lost Royal Rumble 2003, and I feel like he became bigger after that match, but not by much. It's not like he becomes, what I mean?
Yeah, well, we're talking about like you might say like, oh, Rhea Ripley became a bigger star even after she lost to Charlotte, but I was like, no, no, no. Like we're talking like losing that match in particular makes you even bigger. Like this is a great example. This is like, you're right. Maybe this is the only example where Austin losing this match makes him like humongous, right? I almost would say like he can't win this match. If he wins this match, maybe he doesn't get as big as he does. Like he had to like lose in order to get to this level. Like
Trying to think if there's another thing like this, and I can't come up with one. It's very maybe it's very very well done. Oh, I guess Macho Man Ricky Steamboat, but he doesn't happen automatically. Like,
that's what I'm talking about. Automatically, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was the right move for Savage to lose at WrestleMania 3. But again, like the crowd isn't like booing Ricky Steamboat and fucking going nuts for Savage as he walks out. Savage. It's just it's really well done. And this is they Bret Hart, like it's so funny because like I feel like pushing Bret Hart 93, 92 is what kind of it. He left them with such a gift because he made the biggest star they ever had at the time when they needed someone to be made. He made
Yeah.
Steve Austin's career.
Stone Austin loves Bret Hart to this day. Like,
Yeah.
and Austin, like, he is a very down to earth guy in the sense that he 100% acknowledges that without Bret's help, he would have never gotten to where he needed to get to, right?
Yeah.
And Bret Hart often, I don't know if you ever watched that podcast episode where he had Bret on. Bret was saying, like, I was one of the guys pushing for you to get signed. Like, when I saw that you were free, I was like, I would go to Vince and be like, why aren't you signing this guy Austin? He'd been perfect. And so I think like Bret, he always wanted to make this guy work, and he finally got his chance. And boy, he was fucking right. It did work. This was like, it's unbelievable. This match is unbelievable.
It's one of the greatest matches in WWE in wrestling history, not WWE history.
Wrestling history.
I was listening to Kane was on Undertaker's podcast, and the stupid host, was trying to give them credit for like the Attitude Era, and Kane outright says it's because of Austin, because Austin made the whole company change. And Kane says, and Undertaker agrees, there's never been anyone like that, where everybody had to change because of one guy. And he goes out, I think that's why they went with Kane, and that's why Kane was able to be the way he is and not be Isaac Yankem again. And really, like, man, again, I said the death of WCW wasn't all the things they say. It was when Hacksaw and Jim Duggins squashed this guy, and then they fired him months later because they handed WWF on a silver platter. They're $1 billion company because of Steve Austin.
Yeah, they are. No, that's 100%
not
true.
Because of anyone. If Triple H, all of them need to realize the reason why that company is $1 billion company is because of Steve Austin. They would have nothing if Austin had stayed in WCW. They'd have nothing, none of them.
Austin definitely needs to be, like, when you talk about like the most important wrestlers of all time, I put Hogan on there. I'll put Austin on that. I would say Hogan and Austin are 100% on that Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Austin is what he built, they've been able to live off of now for almost 30 years. What he builds in this match, Nick Khan is still paying. Nick Khan is paying for his fucking mansion off of what this guy did in this match.
Hogan, if you guys don't believe us, he's still like in demand now to this day. Like,
I mean, his merch is still sold at WrestleMania at the arenas.
Yeah, they're still always trying to get him at WrestleMania, and the only problem is is they feel like Austin's not worth the money. And the thing is, no, he is
Triple
worth.
H. Triple
Yeah, he
H doesn't.
is worth
It's
the
Triple
money.
H. Triple H can't face the fact that he meant nothing. He meant nothing without
Triple H,
Rock and
Triple H meant nothing. Let's be honest, he meant nothing.
he was the sidekick. He was the henchman, and you need guys like that. But if you fucking go back in time and shoot Triple H in the head in 1997, Nick Khan is still sitting on a pile of billions in 2025. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, and Triple H is good. We're not saying he's not good. It's just that when you're looking at guys who change the industry, Triple H is not it. If China never gets aligned with him, I don't actually know where Triple H goes.
I'll tell you where he goes. I'll tell you where he goes. He goes to WCW and he joins the New Blood with Jeff Jarrett. That's where he goes.
Still not a bad spot. Still not a bad spot, though.
He's the road agent in TNA right now. That's where he is. Him and Low Brown.
All right. So after this match, Top Pettengill, he's in the back with a Nation of Domination, and Farouk cuts a promo on their opponents for the next match, Ahmed Johnson and the Legion of Doom. We're gonna go to our sixth match, the Chicago Street Fight. We got PG-13, the men who created Nation of Domination back in the USWA. That's right. Nation of Domination is not a WWF creation. It is actually a USWA. It's a Memphis creation by PG-13. They wrap out the Nation of Domination, which is Farouk, Savio Vega, and Crush. And they come out with holding up a lot of garbage because it's going to be a Chicago street fight. And then come out their opponents, Legion of Doom and Ahmed Johnson.
I love Ahmed with the Legion of Doom with the shoulder pads. I think the three of them look fucking awesome.
I really almost always dig Ahmed Johnson's presentation. Yes. He's got a great presentation almost all the time. Until he gets sent to WCW and he becomes super fat. But here in WWE, him being super fucking wet all the time, he was the first guy who would come and just start pouring a bottle of water on his head, in front of everybody. Remember? He just comes out and starts pouring a bottle of water on his head. And Triple H would take that from him. I still want an Ahmed Johnson action figure. I don't care if he was an
I want a 3-pack of Ahmed with the Legion of Doom at this show.
With the shoulder pads, yes. That would be. I would actually, yes, yeah. That would be dope.
I'm gonna say this right here before we start reviewing the match. This was the best Legion of Doom match I've ever, and the best Ahmed Johnson match I've ever seen. I love, sometimes people be like, you can't follow up a big match with a big match. These fucking guys did a really good job of following up the greatest match of all time. All 6 of them.
I see things a little differently, but I guess we'll get into it. The Nation of Domination, they start attacking right away, but LOD and Ahmed, they stand tall. Even PG-13 and D'Lo Brown, who's unnamed, they all get slammed down as well. Hawk, he low blows Savio Vega, and then Farouk hits Animal with the pipe. But Animal, he just turns around and hits Farouk with one of the garbage cans. Everyone's fighting everywhere. Animal tries to power drive Farouk through a very thin French announce table, but instead they just both fall off. That looked very bad. They were going to get hurt the way they fell off. That looked awful. But I think they're fine. Animal uses the fire extinguisher. He blows Farouk with it, and there's
blowing him. It's a really weird spot. He starts to be like, give me that dick. Oops.
Yeah. There's all that fire extinguisher smoke everywhere. Ahmed Johnson slams Farouk through that French announce table. LOD chants start breaking out until somebody uses the fire extinguisher again. And that silenced the crowd because that dust is everywhere. And I'm like, dude, why'd you guys do it again? It was one time was enough. You don't need to do it again. Savio Vega, he puts a noose around Ahmed Johnson.
Oh, I loved it. I love dude. You're never gonna see it. This is the thing about this match, bro. You're never gonna see a match like this again. All 6 guys are just doing things. They don't stop. They don't let's all lay down so fucking Savio can do this spot. They're just fucking going nuts.
Yeah. So what Ray's talking about, it's there's constant action everywhere. There's not. It's almost like that Kevin Sullivan, Chris Benoit match. There's like action everywhere. Everyone's fighting at the same time. There's nobody's and not people aren't just laying down so that two guys can do a spot. This is all happening. By the way, when they're putting a noose around Ahmed Johnson, it's Clarence Mason and D'Lo Brown are trying to hang him, so it's not like racist. It's black on black crime, basically.
Okay.
Ahmed Johnson,
okay, Vince is good. So.
Yeah. Ahmed Johnson, he low blows D'Lo Brown as Animal hits Farouk with like a giant parking lot sign, which was cool. Farouk gets yanked off the second turnbuckle to the floor really hard. Oh, that was by Hawk. That was like looked painful as well. Then Hawk uses the fire extinguisher a lot this time, and it's just like, but it's a different type of fume, so it's okay, I guess. LOD chants break out again. They hit the Doomsday on Crush, and then they take a 2x4 and they clothesline Crush for it with it as well for Animal to cover and win the match. Afterwards, the Nation of Domination, they try to attack everybody, but LOD and Ahmed Johnson, they fight back, and Ahmed hits the Pearl River Plunge on D'Lo Brown, and then they do a double Doomsday on PG-13. Wolfie D of PG-13 was on Ahmed Johnson's shoulders when they were getting the double Doomsday, and he says that Ahmed Johnson did it. When you're doing that, you're supposed to push the other guy's legs so that he does like a full rotation, but Ahmed didn't do that, and he landed on his shoulder and head. He said, it hurt, but he's like, I'm fine at the end. I'm fine.
He deserves that. You got to put over Ahmed Johnson. Fuck you.
Yeah. No, he does. Wolfie D, to his credit, he says, I have no problems with Ahmed Johnson. He's fine, but I wish he was at sometimes working with Ahmed was really hard because he didn't know basic things to do sometimes, right? Okay. But this match, it was just okay. I mean, for me, it was a letdown after seeing that Bret Hart match, so I just gave it a C+. It was just an average match.
I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I liked it for its chaos. I liked it because it doesn't follow I just feel like WWE now, they would pretend this match is crazy, but like I said, it would be people lying around like fucking idiots, doing contrived spots. I really thought it was just like it just feels like what a brawl between six guys would be like. I enjoyed it, and let me tell you something: the crowd, I remember liking this match in '97, but I kind of thought, well, maybe the crowd's not gonna be too into it because they're so, exhausted from the Austin match, and they were. This is the way you use Legion of Doom as these fucking monsters who destroy everybody. Whenever you try to get cute with them, and they don't learn anything from this match. This is probably like this. By the way, this is the end of LOD's career. Everything they do after this is fucking garbage. When you treat them like everybody else, no one gives a shit, and it's like, man, you figured it out here. People are going. I mean, the LOD chants are so loud. And in WCW, they were getting crickets coming out wrestling 30-minute matches with Sting and Lex Luger. Remember those? Remember those fucking boring matches? This is the way to do it, brother. You just make them into monsters. They're like they should be booked. Imagine Brock Lesnar was two guys. That's how these guys should be booked. And that's how they were booked here. And I had a good time. And that's it for Legion of Doom. But I really do think that at least, if you're a fan of Legion of Doom or the Road Warriors, at least they had this moment at WrestleMania. And then Vince ruins their career over the next year. But we'll get into that.
All right, so we're going to get to our main event. We see Superfan Vlad. He's there. He doesn't have front row, though. He's not like the bowl cut kid. He doesn't have that much money. But he's there. He's there pretty close to... Yeah. And then... we get Shawn Michaels. He comes out with a super long entrance. Oh my god, it was so long.
The Wolfpack sign.
Yeah, it was so annoying. He's fucking.
And Kevin Nash next night goes right back at HBK. He's such a.
He's such an idiot. Yeah, he does his long fucking entrance. Todd Pettengill, he is with Sid in the back, and Sid cuts a promo on Undertaker because that is the main event. It is a no disqualification WWF title match. Even though we've just seen like 2 no disqualification matches in a row, this one is also no disqualification. It is Undertaker who's wearing his old gear, not the satanic gear, but the old Undertaker gear. And Jim Ross here mentions the Undertaker has not lost at WrestleMania. This is the first time he's mentioning it, I believe.
I guarantee you nobody picked up on that but Jim Ross.
Yeah,
Like, Vince,
you're probably right. Yeah. Shawn Michaels will be on commentary, and Undertaker was going up against the WWF champion Psycho Sid. Bret Hart comes out as Sid and Undertaker are facing off. Before the match begins, Bret Hart comes out and he gets on the microphone and he calls Shawn Michaels a phony, and he goes, "You're phony with your pussyfoot injury," and he starts shitting on Undertaker, and he shits
right
on.
about that.
Yeah, he was right about that. Yeah. He starts shitting on Undertaker and Sid. Sid can't stand this, so he punches Bret Hart and he power bombs Bret Hart and he goes, "Get out of here!" And then Undertaker starts attacking Sid while Sid was on the microphone. The match is now officially on. They do some long rest holds, and then Undertaker gets kicked over the Spanish announce table on the floor, and then he gets slammed on the table. Sid starts beating on Undertaker, and Sid blows snots on the floor. I hate that spot. I hate it when wrestlers do it. It's so disgusting. After a while, they do a double big boot spot, and both men are down. Sid continues this beatdown process that's really not interesting. And Undertaker starts fighting back, which starts bringing the crowd alive. But Sid reverses a tombstone, and he covers, but Undertaker kicks out, and Sid is shocked. He's like, "Oh my God," he kicked out. And he tosses Undertaker outside the ring. As they're on the floor fighting, Bret Hart comes back and he hits Sid with a chair. And officials are like, "Get out of here, Bret. Get out of here." And they take Bret away. Undertaker, he rams Sid into the ring post. He choke slams him in the ring. Sid starts fighting back. Bret comes back again. He drapes Sid on the ropes, which causes Sid to walk into a tombstone power driver from the Undertaker for Undertaker to win and retain, to win the WF title. The most interesting thing about this match was I saw an ECW sign in the crowd. C-. This is a really bad main event, in my opinion.
Not a good main event. The right finish, though, I will say that the right finish at the time, Undertaker should have the belt. They should, and it was smart to give him the belt. Shawn Michaels' commentary ruins the match. He doesn't know when to talk. He doesn't know when to shut up. I kind of feel like the only reason they have the Bret Hart interference is they're like, okay, if the audience doesn't boo Bret, we have this fail-safe in place. So they know we better boo Bret. Like, we're going to have Bret Hart come out and be like, "I'm definitely a heel now, by the way, guys." Like, you know what I mean? You know?
I agree. Yeah, that's probably what it was. Yeah.
I think that's what it was. And then they were like, "Let's just keep it in." And I also think they didn't want Undertaker to beat Sid clean. I don't know why, but maybe they were they thought they had Sid for a while, and they're like, we need to keep the clean finish down the road. It's the right finish. Bad match, not good. It's probably a reason why they let Sid go right after this, and Undertaker and Sid don't ever really have a serious match ever again. But it's the right finish, and it's nice that Undertaker has a world title win during the streak. So, overall, it's a means to an end,
Yeah. So looking back, to me, there's only really one match that's a must watch, and the rest of it's like an in your house level matches. So I can't say this.
I say two. I say two matches. But yes, but that one match is so good. I still rate it above Uncensored for the month of March.
It is a phenomenal match. Yes.
Nothing in Uncensored comes close to that much. So.
There's very few WrestleMania matches after this that will touch that match.
There's no matches anywhere that touch that match. It really, you know what it is? This is the first WrestleMania since 10 where you leave. You can, whatever you want to say about the other matches, but you leave feeling like big things are coming. Like, this set up a lot of big things, and that's good.
You know what? If they ever want to do this, they gotta do it with somebody that's not in the main event. I think that's what helped it too. That it wasn't the main event. It's got to be someone where like you're like if it flops, it's it's not a big loss. You gotta take a risk. That's only time to take a risk like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but it didn't flop. It was one of the greatest things they've ever done.
It was a gamble that really, 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 really paid off.
I mean, but they had the right guy. He was always by the way, what a journey for Austin. When he first entered the pay-per-view reviews, he's on a scaffold match with PN News, and now he's basically saving WWF. It's so fucking fun. And this is not even the hottest he will be. This is just the start of it. The start of the fucking ride that we're still on to this day. Like two fucking losers. Anyway, we're still on this ride. Okay, guys, let's go over the next 4 weeks. Next week, it's Spring Stampede 97, DDP versus Macho Man. In 3 weeks, time to get extreme. It's by the way, I really do feel like ECW had an influence on this show, but we'll talk about that when we get to ECW. It's Terry Funk versus Raven at Barely Legal, the first ever ECW pay-per-view. In 3 weeks, In Your House, Revenge of Taker, Bret Hart, Steve Austin, the rematch. Don't get your hopes up for that one. In 4 weeks, it's In Your House, A Cold Day in Hell, Steve Austin versus Undertaker. What are you excited about, Big Goose?
Probably Barely Legal. I guess when we get to the ECW, are we going to start doing who had the better pay-per-view of the month for three companies?
We can rate them 1 through 3, but if ECW has the best pay-per-view and WCW, WWF is second, they kind of technically still, it would be impossible because ECW didn't do every month. If ECW wins every single month they ever did it, we have to say ECW by default is the better company. But if ECW is 1, but WCW is 2, WCW still won the month. So.
By the way, I would say WCW won March 1997.
WWF won March. That match is too good. That match
changes. One match?
Yes. This event made me I never gave up on wrestling ever again. Yes, that one match makes the whole show. It's a great match. It's one of the greatest matches in American history.
We're taking all of the pay-per-view. We're talking.
Yeah, that pay-per-view was not enjoyable to me. Nobody ever talks about that show.
Uncensored 1997 was enjoyable. What are you talking about? We just reviewed it. Dean Malenko versus Eddie Guerrero. That was an awesome match. Ultimo Dragon versus.
Does anyone talk about any of those matches ever again? Have you ever heard anyone talk about this show in your life?
Uncensored?
97.
Yeah, that's a pay-per-view Booker T says the N.
No, that's Spring Stampede 97. So you even got it wrong. That's next month.
Oh, I would say,
WrestleMania 13.
I'm looking at it overall pay-per-view.
I am too. I had more fun with WrestleMania 13. I am too.
Oh, okay. I disagree. I was like, this is another split vote. I'm gonna say March. I give it to Uncensored. It had better matches and more interesting main event. Even though it was dog shit at the end, it was still more interesting.
I don't think I think that this was even though this match stunk, I thought this match was better.
Okay, so that's a split. That's a second split decision. Nice. Okay.
I thought the second half of this show blew away. Even if I didn't like the Undertaker match that much, due to everything that was going on, I thought the second half of this show blew away Uncensored.
Okay.
Nobody dude, they're still celebrating. They decided to have a Hall of Fame for a match, and this WrestleMania was the first one. So in 2025, they're having a ceremony for this WrestleMania.
Yeah. Okay. So split decision on this one. All right. Interesting. All right. What was the other?
So overall, WWF has 2 victories. WCW has. Hold on 1 second. June, July, August, September, October, December, February. They had 7. So 2 ties. WWF has 2 ties, and 7 for. So WCW is still leading.
So let me write this down so that we don't forget.
7-2-2.
WCW has 7. WWF has 2 and 2 ties.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I mean, listen. I'm not a one match guy. Mind Games, that main event blew away all of Fall Brawl, but Fall Brawl overall is just a way better show. So yeah, you're right. But Uncensored overall is not a way better show than WrestleMania 13. It's more fun to watch WrestleMania 13.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So that's it. I can't. We'll do the next one.
We'll see you next time where we'll be talking about Spring Stampede 97 and the rise of DDP. We'll see you then, Usos.
Cool.